Hey everyone, Alex here with another post-apocalyptic project. So in this video I'm going to make a vest for my first complete costume. I was able to get a hold of a woodland camo army jacket, and I decided to use this for a few reasons. One, the fabric is very durable, so I can distress it and add stuff to it without it completely falling apart. And two, the shape of the jacket is perfect for making a vest. Three, the color pattern fits with the whole post-apocalyptic theme. So first I started by cutting off the sleeves of the jacket at the seam. I left it kind of rough so it would have a distressed look to it. Then I also cut the front pocket off. I did this to add some variation and make it look a little more unique. To make some basic patches, I used cardstock stencils and a marker. I found that canvas or cotton fabric works pretty well, but real patches work well too. I couldn't let the ones on the sleeves go to waste. Next, I used a pocket knife with a serrated blade to distress the entire vest. I paid special attention to areas that would be worn more quickly, like the pocket edges and hem. Then I decided to put a large patch on the back of the vest. I used a canvas apron for this. I wasn't totally sure what design I would make first, so I just cut a really large piece to start with. Before I could make the design, I needed to stain the white fabric. So I used some cheap black tea bags. I used about 4 cups of boiling water and 5 tea bags. More tea or less water will make the stain darker. While the tea-stained fabric dried, then I went on to paint my vest. I used black acrylic paint for this. It doesn't really matter what brand, I just had this lying around. I've tried using spray paint before, but it's kind of toxic and it smells really bad even after it dries, so I try to steer away from it whenever possible. Just like the distressing, I paid special attention to areas that would collect grime faster, so like frayed edges or holes, the edges, wherever you think grime would collect. Okay, now that the tea-stained fabric is dry, I can start on the design. So I went ahead and printed up a radiation symbol and used a craft knife to cut it out. I wanted the design to look like a vintage warning sign, but also rough and hand-fashioned. I did learn that some of the tea will drip out of the fabric while it's hanging up. This piece was folded over on itself and created wrinkled designs. So it can be used to create some variation in the piece instead of just being a uniform tan color. Now I can add patches and embellishments to the vest. Bottle caps are perfect. To add these, I used a hammer and nail to put holes in the cap and then sew them on with a heavy tan-colored thread, kind of like a button. To add the patches, I used nickel rivets with a leather hole punch. I basically just made holes in the patch and fabric, and then put the rivets through to hold them together. These rivets are great because they can snap together and come apart until you decide to set them with a hammer. To attach the fabric patches, I use stitch witchery. This stuff is kind of like glue. It bonds fabric together when heated with an iron. It's good for quick fixes and short-term bonds, but will lose integrity with heavy wear. It's a good idea to use wax paper when ironing so that any ink or paint on the patch doesn't melt onto the hot iron. Because the stitch witchery bonds are a bit weak, I decided to use rivets and sewn thread to reinforce the patches. I honestly just taught myself to sew, so it's not going to be perfect, but this is okay because I kind of want it to look haphazard anyway. I was getting close to being done, but I wanted to add a utilitarian feature to this vest. After digging through my junk box, I found this shotgun shell holder. Last time I went to the range with my friends, I was able to pick up some spent 12-gauge shotgun shells. It was only fitting they should find a home on my vest. I used steel rivets for this because the fabric is super thick. It didn't work too well because as I was cutting the pins off from the rivets, they got very hot and one actually melted through the fabric. I should have used nuts and bolts for this part. Finally, I needed to make the patches and the shell holder look dirty. They needed to match the rest of the vest. So I just used the same black acrylic paint and then smeared it a couple times with my fingers. I felt like something was missing, so I decided to add another patch and another bottle cap. And then I went over these again with the black acrylic paint so they would match. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I plan on finishing this costume with a few other pieces. Let me know what you want to see next. Thanks!